What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Mr. Luis, Buffalo, Boston. What's up?
Manny, the return of the beanie for on a
There it
Monday
is.
where Bills are tied for first place
After 1 week.
in the division. After handling the Jets, might I add, fairly easy. Didn't really. We weren't even on our crisp game. Still whooped the Jets.
Wow.
Covered the spread that people were doubting. We were given one of the largest spreads going into the week, and they handled it, man. So I'm a very happy guy today, and in a season where the Red Sox, are underperforming,
To say the least.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Red Sox, first team to 30 losses this weekend in MLB. And I keep hearing things from some Red Sox fans out there that this is exactly where you want to be. But I was wondering, because I really don't remember here. I'm asking seriously. And I'm hoping, since you're a Red Sox fan, right? You claim to be a Red Sox fan, correct?
Yep.
Based on the cheating scandal, did you lose like draft picks or anything? Like, does it matter if you get the first pick next year because you're probably going to lose it? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I'm being honest. I really don't remember.
No, honestly, I don't remember either. But I don't think we lost a first round pick. I think we lost, if anything, like a second round. If that.
All right.
But
of course, baseball's gonna help you guys out.
Yeah, honestly, I remember there being a thing where teams lose more that did this thing, which is like legal, than teams that, like the Red Sox and the Astros, lost less or whatever. But real quick, this isn't where I want to be as a Red Sox fan. I think like in a shortened season where 16 teams make it into the playoffs, I would rather watch meaningful baseball for my team in this 2020 season than to be left out of it after like the second week of baseball. So I get it long term. It's going to be cool to have some money to spend and some high draft picks next year, but I would have enjoyed, along with football and the NBA playoffs, to watch the Red Sox compete for an 8th seed at least, like at the very least, just to get in there.
That's good to hear, because I'm hearing,
trust me,
I'm seeing Red Sox fans celebrating losses here and shit. I'm like, what's wrong with this world? What's going on here?
The miserable losers, like you always like to say, man.
You guys just love being underdogs. Everybody loves an underdog story. I'll admit it. 2017 for me was one of the most enjoyable baseball seasons because I didn't expect the Yankees to make it to a Game 7 of an ALCS with a young team like that. It was very exciting. But I also enjoyed the first half of the season when we were just wiping the floor with everybody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
it's nice. It's nice to know when you're going into the playoffs and you have a really high chance to get deep into the playoffs. I think that's always what you want to be as a fan.
All right, let's talk about something that your team won't have to worry about, the MLB playoff picture. Which, by the way, CT, I don't like to toot our own horn here, but we're on Bleacher Report, man. For the first time, we started this in 2018. The goal was to make a network, right? And recently we got some news regarding networks and stuff. I don't want to say anything yet because I don't want to jinx it. But we got some good news regarding a network out there that may or may not be interested. Then I go on Bleacher Report and I see our post up there. And I'm just like, what's happening?
Surreal, right? And thank God that they probably don't listen to our podcast because we shit on Bleacher Report from time to time because they don't give a shit about baseball. Currently, MLB is the 5th link after NFL, NBA, college football, world football, then MLB. So
I don't know. I never shit on Bleacher. I love Bleacher Report, man.
I shit on Bleacher Report because it could. You'll see, I mean, let's not get into that right now. We're grateful to be included in the list of links when you go on MLB right now. I think we're like the 10th link. We want to climb that rank. So subscribe to our channel, help us improve.
That's it, man. That's it. So MLB playoff picture, the reason why we're on Bleacher Report is because over the last month or so, we've been tracking the playoff picture. I realize that the playoffs are different this season, and not many people understand how teams are being ranked. So I decided I'm going to start doing it for people so they could just go to our website, wttspod.com, and find this article. We update it daily We explain how the playoff picture works and what it looks like if it ended today. And if it ended today, the White Sox are currently the 1 seed. And they would be facing off against the New York Yankees if the postseason ended today. And by the way, the Yankees are tied with the Indians for the 7 seed, but since regions don't face off against each other, I had to go with run differential, and the Indians have a better run differential than the Yankees do currently. So the Indians are the 7 seed. They would face off against the 2 seed Tampa Bay Rays. The 3 seed is the Oakland A's, and they would face off against the Houston Astros, who are the only team in the American League with a sub 500 record in the postseason. Also, the A's lost Matt Chapman for the rest of the season due to hip surgery. So they might be, I mean, thank God the Astros aren't that great this year, but the Astros might have gotten lucky to, if the season ended today, they might be lucky to face off the A's because they're missing their best player right now. And they've been kind of faltering a little bit lately. I'm going to check the standings real quick.
I want to say the Indians, too, are like on a 6-game losing streak.
Yeah, their offense is atrocious, man.
Yeah, I mean, it would have helped to keep Clevenger on your team. Speaking of the White Sox being in the number 1 seed now, do you think that the MVP race holds more weight now more than ever in terms of like where your team is ranked?
The MVP race?
Yeah, because right now the standout MVPs in the American League are Jose Abreu, number 1 seed White Sox, Nelson Cruz, 4 seed Twins, and who would be the other one? I guess I don't even know.
I mean, as a Yankees fan, Luke Voit has been a beast.
I'll consider Luke Voit.
I don't think he's the MVP, but I think that 5 and 15 skid that we went through. I think without Luke Voit, we probably lose. Out of those 20 games, we probably lose like 18 of them. Like he was our only offense.
Yeah, you're right.
That whole thing.
Do we even consider Mike Trout anymore? I mean, he's performing pretty good this season.
Yeah, I don't. You know what it is I feel like in baseball, people look at record, and I feel like the Angels being so bad, I think they're the 3rd worst team in the American League. I'm not sure. It might be the Royals.
Yeah.
That they're not going to even consider him because of that, especially in a season like this.
He's tied for league lead in home runs, 1.051 OPS for the 2020 season. He's averaging a great exit velocity. I don't know, man. It's Trout being Trout again, but I just think there's no excuse for the Angels to be this bad. When I think you have a team like the Mariners. What are they, like 2 games out of the 8th seed? I'd have to check the standings, but just the fact that the Mariners are in the conversation, I don't think the Angels should be this bad after getting Rendon and getting Ohtani.
I agree.
Back. I know Ohtani's not pitching, but still, it's weird. I don't want to consider Mike Trout in the MVP conversation for this season. Might have to be Abreu or Cruz.
I think it's Abreu right now.
Even Voit. I'll throw Voit into that mix for sure.
I think it's Abreu right now. And Mike Trout, by the way, in the American League, is 2nd in our stat net runs, considering all the runs he's responsible for. He's behind Jose Abreu. He's responsible for 62 runs to his team this season, whereas Jose Abreu is responsible for 68 of his team's runs this season.
Nelson Cruz is currently tied for the lead in home runs, leads the league in slugging, leads the league in OPS plus, and I don't know if you care, but
you know what it is? I when we had our midseason predictions, I had told you that we recorded a week late. The week that we were supposed to record, Nelson Cruz was my alternative MVP in the American League. The reason why I don't feel comfortable with that is because I feel like writers or whoever it is that votes for MVPs, I think it's the BBWA, I'm not sure. They're not going to give it to him because he's a DH. Has there ever been a DH MVP in baseball? I don't think there has been. I don't remember.
World Series, I think, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe Ortiz in like a World Series or an ALCS or some shit, but I don't think a league MVP, I don't think it's ever gone to a DH. Not to my recollection. I can't remember.
It's just that division, that division's tough. The Twins are not a bad team, and they were third in that division, meaning that they would have been the 7th or 8th seed a week ago. And both Jose Abreu and Nelson Cruz have played a lot of games this year. Jose Abreu 46, Nelson Cruz 45. I wouldn't mind giving it to a guy like Nelson Cruz.
I wouldn't mind either. I love Nelson Cruz. By the way, net
But the
runs,
fact,
he's responsible for 49 of his team's runs, which is ranked 26th.
and Jose Abreu.
Jose Abreu is number 1 in the AL, third in all of baseball.
Okay, so there you go. You're cooking something there with that stat. It's
I like that. I comb through these. You have the most complicated fucking stats in the world out there with WAR and WOBA and X WOBA and shit like that, where I couldn't calculate it if you gave me the numbers. And for me, I always used. I annoy the crap out of you guys when I always say runs equals wins. I think teams need to score runs. Obviously, the object is to score runs to win games. So I wanted to see, is there a stat out there that tells me how many runs a player is responsible for? And of course, you have runs and you have RBIs, but RBIs are include home runs, which is kind of repetitive because that's also included in runs. You know what I mean? Like you got a double. There's like a double whammy there.
Mm-hmm.
So RBI minus home runs plus runs tells you how many runs a player is responsible for. The net runs that single player helped his team score, right? So it's such a simple stat, and I don't find it anywhere. So I'm claiming it. Fuck it, we're claiming it. That's our stat now. Net runs, and if you look at it and compare it to WAR, it kind of aligns with the WAR stat too. Like it tells you who's more valuable. So yeah. So anyway, Freddie Freeman leads everybody this week. Last week it was Fernando Tatis, but Freddie Freeman had a monster week last week.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman's quietly having an MVP season. He won't win it.
I don't think he's gonna win. I think it's gonna be Tatis. No. His Tatis is to lose.
Honestly, I think that the Padres are like 6 games in a row winning now. I think.
Yeah, they're 2.5 games out of first place in the West.
We all laughed.
And they're gonna face off against the Dodgers in a 3-game set. If they sweep the Dodgers, they're gonna have first place to themselves.
We all laughed at Machado for signing that deal, taking the money.
But think about this really quick. It's insane, the comparisons. The Chicago White Sox, hottest team in the American League. The San Diego Padres, hottest team in the National League. They're both 25-5 in their last 30 games. Those are the 2 teams that Manny Machado was deciding between. Remember, it was between the Chicago White Sox and the San Diego Padres.
Because the White Sox got his brother-in-law or his cousin, whatever.
Right. And they're within striking distance of first place in the NL. And quite frankly, I think the Dodgers are still the best team in baseball.
Same.
But the Padres just look dynamic right now. I don't know if they have as good of a pitching staff as the Dodgers do, and I think that's what matters in the postseason. But they're a dynamic offense. You have Will Myers is a fucking beast this year again. I don't know how that happened.
Oh my God! After that guy was just trying to find a home in our fantasy league last year.
You have Cronenworth. You have Eric Hosmer is finally embracing launch angle. I know he's hurt right now, but he's hitting more home runs. He's having a resurgent season.
Yep.
Chris Paddock is giving up a lot of home runs, but he's having a good year. I don't know. They have Clevenger now. They have that's a decent 1-2 punch right there. Clevenger, Paddock.
That has to be the move of the year. Clevenger to the Padres.
My God.
If they win it this year, that's one of the biggest moves. And both those teams are just built around a young core too. So that's very interesting.
They're going to be good for a long time. Those 2 teams.
What we think?
What about it?
We think they're going to be good for a long time. I just feel like we fall in love with these young teams that dominate. It's a short season. I honestly don't know. I can't say without a doubt that the outcome would have been the same if there was a 162 game schedule. Honestly, we don't know. I think the Dodgers are a solid team all around, especially with Mookie Betts. But even with the Padres and the White Sox, I didn't think the White Sox. I mean, I thought the White Sox were going to be okay. I didn't think they'd be number 1 seed in their division. Okay, so either they're ahead of schedule and that's valid, or they're the hot team at the moment when the season is only like 2 months long. And who knows who knows?
No, you're right. I think it's easy to get ahead of ourselves in a 60-game season. And we have to stop. I have to stop now and think, like, if this was 162 games, is it feasible that these 2 teams could get hot in a 60-game stretch? And they could get hot. It's possible for a team to get hot in a 60-game stretch. But what would happen with the remaining 100 games if it was a regular season? Could they stay hot like this for the rest of the way?
Mm-hmm.
And that remains to be seen. So thanks for bringing me back down to earth, man.
That's what I
Thanks
do,
for
man.
shitting on my parade.
That is what I do.
Let's go to the National League really quick. We just spoke about the Dodgers and the Pods. The Dodgers and the Padres own the 1 and 4 seeds. That they could swap if there's a sweep. I don't know if that's going to happen, but the 2 seed are the Atlanta Braves. The 3 seed, and they would face off against the Phillies if the season ended today, who are the 7 seed. The 3rd seed are the Cubs, who would face off against the Cardinals if the season ended today.
What a matchup.
4 seed is the Padres versus the Marlins, who are the 5th seed. And you have the Giants, who are the only NL team with a sub 500 record. They're the 8th seed, and they would face off against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I don't know. It's random, man. I didn't expect. There's a lot of teams I didn't expect to be in the postseason hunt this year. I didn't think the White Sox were going to be there, and they're the 1 seed.
I for sure didn't. I'm more shocked that the Giants are still in the conversation, man. And the
me
Marlins.
too, man.
But again, the Marlins still have to make up a lot of games, right?
They're 23 and 21. So they've played 44 games. They have 16 games left. I gotta say, Major League Baseball's done a pretty good job at. I can't believe I'm giving them credit for this right now, but they've done a pretty good job at trying to weather the storm here, because the Cardinals and the Marlins missed a lot of games because of COVID. The Cardinals have already played 40 games. I know that they have a lot of games to play over the next 2 weeks. They have 20 games left, and there's only 2 weeks left of baseball. So that's a lot, but that they've made up that much time already, that they're 20 and 20. They've played 40 games this season when they missed like the first 2 weeks of the season or 3 weeks or whatever. I think is impressive. So you got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, no. Even with that being said, though, I mean, the Marlins being the 5th seed, the Giants being the 8th seed. How are the Rockies, man? Are the Rockies still within striking distance to grab the 8th seed, or are they pretty much done?
The Rockies have fallen off. They're 21 and 25. They're still 1 game behind the Giants in the loss column, but I don't know. I don't know about the team. The team that shocked me is the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, you had them winning that.
I had them going.
Yeah, I believe you win the division is what I believe you said originally.
Yeah. And Sonny Gray started the season hot and then fucked me, my fantasy team. I'm using an F word, Bleacher Report. Deal with it. Fucked me big time the last 2 starts when I needed him most. Now he's on the IL. Doesn't matter because I'm not in the postseason anymore. Enough about me, though. But Trevor Bauer, my God, man. Trevor Bauer.
Hottest free agent, probably.
And they improved their offense. They got Nicholas Castellanos, who was a beast to start the season. You know, Joey Votto's there, Mike Moustakas. You have a good offense. I don't know why that team isn't doing better than the record says they are.
The Rockies are 1 game behind the Giants in the loss column, so I wouldn't rule them out just yet. It's just crazy that these teams under 500. Didn't we record an episode last year where we were talking about teams under 500 making it to the playoffs, and that I wasn't okay with it, or I don't remember what my take was on it, but just looking at this, I'm still kind of not okay with it. Looking at how bad some of these teams are.
Yeah, the Giants are the only team currently, and the Astros. The Giants and the NL are the only team with a sub 500 record that would be in the postseason, and in the AL, it's the Astros.
But can we agree that a team that's above 500 is at least like what is it? It's like the one thing to start the conversation of you being a good team.
Yeah.
At least like if it gets be a 500 and above team, you can start the conversation that your team is a good team. And I'm not okay with these teams being rewarded going into the playoffs, man. If the Red Sox can't make it, they shouldn't make it.
Oh my God. Anyway, the NL to me looks like an easier path. If you're the Dodgers, I feel like you're afraid of the Padres, and then the Atlanta Braves. I don't know what the fuck is going on in the last 2 weeks, but I feel like every one of their players has a 3 home run game. Adam Duvall did it. Did Freeman do it? I don't remember.
No, but he's had, I think he had a 2 home run game. One of them was a grand slam, I believe.
So I know that Acuna did it. uh, Marcelo Osuna did it.
Adam Duvall did it twice.
Adam Duvall did it twice.
I think he did. I'll check that real quick.
And then there was a graphic during the Braves game yesterday about the highest OPSs in the last 30 games or something. And 4 out of the top 5 players are Atlanta Braves players. Like their offense is out of this world. So I'm afraid of the Braves, but I feel like the top dogs are the Dodgers and the Padres in the NL. Then when you jump to the American League, I feel like even though the Astros are 23 and 24, apparently Verlander is going to be ready for the postseason. If he comes back, that's a tough 8 seed right there. Like if you're the Chicago White Sox and you have to face off against Zach Greinke and Justin Verlander in that first 3-game series there, that's going to be a tough task, I think.
Yeah, just real quick. Adam Duvall had on September 2nd 3 home runs. September 9th, 3 home runs in a game.
Crazy.
9 RBIs in that second game. So this guy basically jumped from like who knows where in the home run leaderboard to what's the number 1 guy in is it still Tatis in the National League? Adam Duvall has 14. I know in the American League. I know in the American League it's 16. But Adam Duvall is obviously like probably in the top 5 now after not being in the top 10.
Tatis is 15, yeah, and Marcelo Osuna 14, Duvall 14. Crazy. Mookie Betts 15. Mookie Betts, man.
Wow. Mookie getting a jersey. Player. I don't care.
You should, man. I might.
I will.
I love Mookie. He's one of my favorite players, but I just couldn't embrace it because he was a Red Sox. Now I can. Thank you, Mookie. Where was I? Want to talk more about the Red Sox? No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, I'm good.
But playoff picture, like in the American League, I feel like is a tougher road to the World Series because even though the Cleveland Indians are kind of falling apart a little bit, once it gets pitching, the postseason is all about pitching. Once you get to the postseason, you're gonna have to get through Shane Bieber, Carlos Carrasco, McKenzie, Plesac. They're all really good pitchers for a staff. They might have the best pitching rotation in the American League, actually.
Yep.
Then you have the Tampa Bay Rays who are pesky as fuck. I don't know if you saw this, but last week they put out an all-lefty lineup. Did you see that?
Yeah. No, I didn't see it, but I'm imagining it in my brain.
It never happened before. All-lefty lineup, lefty starter.
Ever.
It's never happened before. And it's no switch hitters, true, like pure lefties. It's never happened before.
Wow.
1 through 9, all lefties.
How did that work out?
They won. They killed the Red Sox. But then again, it's the Red Sox. But they're just such a pesky team. The Blue Jays, I don't want to shit on them, but I still don't believe in them that much. I don't know.
Me neither. I'm looking at the standings right now. They'd be the 5th seed today. They have no pitching. So
they have Ryu and who else is in their rotation now?
Tajon Walker, who's has not looked great.
Yeah.
So I want to believe that the Blue Jays can make some noise, but based off what the playoff pictures looks like today, I'd like to see the Twins advance, the White Sox, obviously, for reasons that I don't need to mention here.
Yeah, so Blue Jays starting rotation is Ryu, Tanner Roark, Chase Anderson, Taijuan Walker, and Robbie Ray. I forgot they got Robbie Ray.
I forgot about that as well.
In the Central, the White Sox, what's the Lucas Giolito? What other starters do they have?
Dallas Keuchel, but he's currently on the IL, I think.
I think he's coming back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
They have and Dylan Cease.
Gio Gonzalez is on the White Sox too, I believe.
Currently, he's listed as a bullpen arm.
Wow.
Ouch. So yeah, but that offense, Yasmani Grandal, Jose Abreu, Luis Robert is a real deal. Tim Anderson. Can we give some love to Tim Anderson, people? Like,
I love Tim Anderson.
Yoan Moncada, who had COVID and is saying that he doesn't feel the same since he had COVID. So for those deniers out there.
So keep your pants on, but I'm sorry. Let me let you finish that thought.
Eloy Jimenez, the offense up and down is a juggernaut. Nomar Mazara, I know that he's not looked upon as a big name, but if he gets on a hot streak, he's as good as anybody could be. Edwin Encarnacion. I mean, this team is stacked.
Perfect lineup for a Yankees pitching staff whose best pitcher gives up the most home runs in baseball.
That's scary to me. See, right there, that scares me because you're right. Because I'm not afraid of Garrett Cole. I feel like Garrett Cole could do his business. You saw what he did in his last start. But like you said, he does give up a lot of home runs. So I said it last year when people were, getting boners over Justin Verlander, and he was leading the league in home runs given up. And you saw what what happened to him in the postseason. The home run killed him. He was atrocious in the postseason. So don't be too confident if you're a Yankee fan, like I was right there. But that might be the worst matchup you could possibly have. If you're the Yankees, you want to get out of that 8 seed because I don't want to face the White Sox. They might be the only team. Them and the Rays might be the only two teams that I want to stay away from in the American League in a 3-game series.
I'm kind of upset the Nationals aren't in the hunt because I want to keep seeing Juan Soto, man, in the playoffs. Just watch him make history.
He leads baseball in OPS, by the way. Juan Soto.
Oh man.
And I don't know if you saw this. We're all over the place in this episode. Fuck
yeah.
It.
Go for it.
I don't know if you saw this, but Juan Soto and Fernando Tatis were in ESPN the top 2 most exciting players in baseball right now. And those are the top 2 guys that we keep talking about on this podcast.
How do they determine this?
So I can't find the piece now. It was last week.
Did they pull Twitter? Maybe.
Probably.
Well, here's the thing, Manny. Keep your pants on, but Baseball Savant released a outs above average stat for 2020. Guess who is number 1? Unless you already saw this since you're subscribed to all these random ass stats, but
no.
Guess. Just take a guess who's
Juan Soto?
number. No. All right, come on. He's a great hitter, but I don't know about his fielding being that elite.
Oh, so this is a fielding stat.
Outs above average. Outs above average.
Jackie Bradley Jr.
No.
Mookie Betts.
This would have made more sense when we were talking about the White Sox. It's Luis Robert.
Wow, no way.
Yeah, I meant to bring this up when you were talking about the White Sox. We went random off a little bit there. Gave Soto some love. But
so it looks like we're only dropping 1 episode this week because there's no way we're gonna break this apart. Wow, that's crazy though. I'm impressed.
Man. This guy is future MVP for sure.
Can we talk since we're just randomly throwing shit out there?
Go for it, man.
Let's talk about Cuba real quick. So I understand that the Dominican Republic, for the most part, like if you were to rank players by country, aside from the U.S., DR probably has the most top talent in baseball. I think. I don't know. I don't have any numbers in front of me.
I think it's safe to say that DR has the most professionals in the sport, like in terms of Hispanic born. Right, I would say we're probably up there in terms of who made it to the major leagues. Yeah.
So then you have this country in Cuba who's been isolated, not from the world, but from the U.S., where baseball is the main, that's where baseball was born. It's America's pastime, right? But every year you get a Cuban player who's out of this world. I mean, we just talked about
league by storm, yeah.
And I'm just like, and we have a writer on Call to the Pen, Yusef Diaz, who's an incredible writer. And he's plugged into the Cuban scene and knows a lot about their players, interviews them, all that stuff. They have a ton of talent in that country. And I'm just like, I don't want to be insulting, but how? Like, you know what I mean? How, like, well, they watch MLB games in DR and in Cuba? Like, you know what I mean?
You're asking how they have this much talent?
I'm just like trying to think, like, how did baseball become?
Well, they're retaining. Oh, how did baseball blow up in Cuba?
I don't even know how to word this, but I'm just like, I'm kind of mesmerized that they've produced so much insanely good baseball talent out of Cuba. And that's nothing to say. I'm not trying to say something negative about Cuba. It's just because of the embargo and because the U.S. and Cuba had the relationship for such a long time. If anything, I'm impressed by it.
I'm still. So Jose Abreu is Cuban.
Cuban, yes.
Will we say he's the top Cuban talent that has been able to sustain a lengthier career than a lot of these guys that burst into the scene like Puig. And can we say Jose Abreu is right now like the standard of what a great Cuban-born player should be, since he's done it for like
Probably.
6-7 seasons already?
Probably, yeah. I think I'm looking right now on Baseball Reference. Currently, right now, in the history of baseball, 218 Cuban players have played MLB baseball. He's played 7 seasons. He's already a top 20 player.
He's super consistent so
Yeah.
far in his career too.
And I'm talking Rafi Palmeiro. I don't know. Was he born? I think he was born in Cuba. Well, yeah, because I'm looking at it here. You have Tony Perez, Luis Tiant, who's a legend. I don't know how he's not in the Hall of Fame. Jose Canseco was born in Cuba. Livan Hernandez, El Duque. You have, I was going to say Yasiel Puig. He's up there on the list. Yasmani Grandal was born in Cuba. Aroldis Chapman, Jose Fernandez.
I was thinking more like in terms of like the more recent burst of Cuban talent. Jose Abreu is the one that's been doing it the most consistently. In other words, you got a guy like Puig, or maybe even like Jorge Soler.
Yes, Yoenis Cespedes. I know injury prone.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm talking about. Like Yoenis Cespedes at one point was taking the league by storm. He had the cannon. He was hitting home runs and everything. Now you don't really want to be the guy to be on that Cespedes wagon. So shout out to Jose Abreu. I don't know where I was going with this.
And then you have guys like Gurriel in Houston, who he's not Jose Abreu or any of these really top Cuban players, but he's like one of these super consistent. You have to be afraid of this guy when he comes up to the plate. Like
even Gurriel on the Blue Jays, is having a pretty good season.
I feel like I guess what I'm trying to say is that yes, the DR has probably the top talent in Latin America, baseball talent. But I feel like if you compare exports out of DR and exports out of Cuba, I feel like the percentage, the success rate is probably higher in Cuba. And I know that there's probably more Dominican players in baseball.
Yeah.
So that kind of skews it a little bit. But I feel like when I'm looking at this list, there's very few players on this list that I feel like are busts. Whereas if I do this birthplace by Dominican Republic, I'm Dominican, by the way, so I'm not trying to shit on my people. But I feel like there would be a lot of players on that list that weren't that good. You know what I mean?
Well, it could be that the Cuban players that come here are the top talent in Cuba, whereas the Dominican players that come here could be like unrefined talent that still have to, go through the system, and maybe they're a 95-mile-per-hour hurler, but they don't really know how to pitch. I feel like those guys in Cuba are more refined by the time they get here. That could be the case as well.
It could also be that if you're going to take the chance to leave Cuba to come to the U.S., because you have to jump through a lot of hurdles to do that, that you're probably going to be a guy who's going to make it. The equivalent of who's a shitty Dominican player. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
A shitty Dominican player.
Yeah, that's probably a bad way to phrase it.
I don't know why Luis Severino comes to mind.
You just had to go there. I don't.
Is that
understand.
just me though? Like, what? If you're talking about shitty? A bust, who?
Come on, let's be real here. Just stop playing around. Like, pick a real.
If you name one Dominican player less than Luis Severino, and let's start. He's the bar right now. You gotta be a less of a talent than him.
But he is talented. Come on,
he's in the majors. Freaking God, I'm trying to think. There has to be. What's this guy? The guy that was on the Yankees bullpen a couple years ago. Got traded to the to the Blue Jays.
Oh, Chasen Shreve?
Not
Tyler
him.
Clippard?
Tyler Clippard. Tyler Clippard's a talented guy, but I think he's trash. I hope you're not listening to me. We'd love to have you on our show. Let's think. Dominican players. Luis Severino's the first one came to mind. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm just saying we're talking about.
I'm gonna take you out of the equation here because you just want to shit on the Yankees.
I'm still waiting to.
I'm gonna give you one right now. Chill. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Hold on.
Gary Sanchez. I mean,
let's go. Oh my God.
Yeah, if you want to talk about a bust, like I'm kidding.
Wow, what an
Here we go.
asshole.
Here we go.
How about
You talking about current, right?
yeah. Hold on, man. Damn.
We got Willie Adames, who's solid for the Rays, but you could
Yeah, I don't think
make
he
it.
sucks.
You don't think he sucks? What about this relief pitcher that was on the Mets? Robles? Robles kind of sucks.
Okay, let's go Robles.
Is
Fuck
he?
it. And
He's Dominican, right?
throughout all of this, I already lost my train of thought. By the way,
I'm sorry. Wait, but
okay. So like
Robles is Dominican, right? Like we know.
Okay,
that.
so like let's say Robles, I got it. I'm back now. Let's say Robles was Cuban. Would a guy, and let's say Robles, and let's throw out Pedro Martinez. Let's say that they played in the same era, right? And let's say they're Cuban, not Dominican. It would make sense for Pedro Martinez to try to escape Cuba and risk his life because he has the talent. So if he makes it to MLB, he's gonna strike gold. He's gonna make millions of dollars. He's gonna be fine. Whereas Robles, he could take that chance and then just to come to the U.S. and it'd be like that movie Pelotero, where he makes it to the big leagues and then he just ends up like playing in some Sunday league or some shit.
Yeah, he might give up before he ever even gets on that.
He might take all this risk, paying these what are they called, buscones and all this stuff, all this money, and not pan out and end up being in debt, being in the U.S., which I understand he'll have more opportunities and stuff here, but he could be poor, destitute. You know what I mean? Like almost impossible to survive. So I get it. If you're going to leave Cuba, you probably have enough talent where you're going to strike, you're going to be good in Major League Baseball. But I guess, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. It's just impressive to me.
I heard where you were going. By the way, Teoscar Hernandez is having one hell of a season this year.
Injured, man. Injured.
Oh. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think we're saying the same thing. Like, I don't know how the whole process works compared to DR and Cuba, but I feel like in DR you got basically a bunch of trainers. They're putting these kids in front of scouts. They're showing these raw talented guys, like anybody that could throw the ball over 95, anybody that could hit the ball over 400 feet. I don't care if you could hit a curveball or not. We just know that you can hit good, so we can work with you. We'll sign you to a minor league deal or a contract or whatever, and you will make your way up through the system. Whereas the Cuban players, I think all of that weeding out process is already done by the time they get here, which could be why we have these like juggernaut players that are like 5 tools to start.
Luis Robert, for Christ's sake, his first season here. That's it. You know what I mean? He's a beast. But I mean, think about like the Yasiel Puig situation, what he went through to get to the United States. And he is, I know people want to shit on Yasiel Puig, but he's a top talent, I would say, in baseball.
He should be on a baseball team.
He should be on a baseball team. And I think COVID prevented that from happening because he ended up testing positive for COVID. But he risked his life, literally, to get to the U.S. You could read articles about it and all that stuff. Just Google it. But that's what I'm trying to say. You're not going to take that risk if you're Luis Robles. You know what I'm saying? Not to shit on Luis Robles. It's just the one guy that we could think of right now. So no offense to you, buddy. Let's say Tyler Clippard. Tyler Clippard is a Cuban guy. Tyler Clippard is not going to take that chance if he's, if he's not sure he's going to pan out 100% in the U.S. Damn, man. We steered this ship like all over the place today, man.
Just a quick correction. It's a Hansel Robles, not Luis Robles.
Hansel.
Hansel.
That's all. That Hansel's so hot right now.
That Hansel.
Really quick.
God, ERA 11.2. Hansel Robles. Get a clue, man. Find another profession.
Yeah. Wow. Offensive. But yes, before I shut down your Teoscar Hernandez praise, he is on the IL, but yes, he was having a monster season this year. And one of the reasons why I want to seriously consider your theory about the air in Buffalo, because some of the home runs this guy was hitting when he was healthy were out of this world.
Yep.
Out of this world.
But I mean, I looked at what the altitude was in that Buffalo field, and it's not that much different from other fields in the major leagues. Like it's nothing close to like the Rockies or anything, so, but you never know if there's like a jet stream that flies like right through center field or something, you never know.
And that stadium
it's not just about altitude.
It's like a minor league stadium too. So that outfield goes into the streets essentially. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing to block the air. You're right. If there's a stream
Yeah.
going through, it might
There could
carry
be
the ball.
there could be a jet stream there. Yeah, man. We can get very scientific here.
Why don't we take a trip up to Buffalo with what kind
I
of
am
ometer
so
would you use?
down.
And just do one of these.
But yeah, I was just about to do that. I'm down, man. I'll
I'm
be
down. Let's
accepted
do it.
there.
You would. Fraud. So I just read a story on Bleacher Report. Love Bleacher Report, by the way, but that baseball is not going to allow celebrations with alcohol after clinching, a postseason berth, or I guess throughout the postseason, no alcohol. And I'm kind of confused by this rule. It's not that big of a deal. I get it. You can control yourself, not drink for once, but what's the point? I'm kind of confused.
Maybe there hasn't been any good imported champagne since the COVID shutdown or something. They don't want to wait.
They bottle up COVID maybe inside of champagne bottles. When you pop it, the COVID
I don't know, man, but good luck trying to keep alcohol out of some of these players. And speaking of the postseason, we can touch on the whole alcohol excluded, like you can't celebrate with alcohol and stuff. Speaking of that, there's going to be how many series to get to the World Series?
So if you go to WTTSpod.com, or if you want to just go through Bleacher Report.
No, I'm on it. I just kind of wanted you to answer, give you some airtime, but
okay, more. You're gonna have to go through a best of 3 series first, and that's gonna take place in. So let's say that the postseason ended today. It's the White Sox versus the Yankees. The Yankees would have to go to Chicago to play the White Sox for 3 games. There's no traveling back to New York. All the games take place in Chicago, and then after that. You enter the ALDS, and then the ALCS, and then the World Series. So the only difference this postseason from other postseasons is that initial 3-game series for round 1.
Okay, can we agree that there should be no ecstatic champagne popping celebration?
It's going to happen, man.
But do we both agree that that's just cheesy to celebrate?
It's cheesy, but we've seen since the second wild card was introduced, people are celebrating making the second wild card. The Yankees did, I think, a couple years back
in a 162-game season.
Yeah. So it's gonna happen.
I can almost get on board with that. I don't think you should celebrate the 3-game series victory. I don't think you should celebrate winning the ALDS. Or let me rephrase that. I actually would celebrate going to the ALCS and NLCS, and then obviously celebrate going to the World Series. Mm-hmm. But just because there's going to be a celebration at the end of the World Series anyways, I mean, celebrate that. I think the one that we can all agree is worth it is celebrating winning the American League or National League Championship Series, and then the last World Series victory. Everything before that, man, it's just noise.
I don't know, because a 3-game series is anybody's series. So what if? And again, let's look at the NL. What if the Giants upset the Dodgers in a 3-game series? You don't think they're going to celebrate?
No. I feel like I had to reword what I said. Celebrate. Go for it. Celebrate. Put the goggles on and hand out T-shirts and pop champagne. No, fuck that. Like. Don't waste that shit. Take your champagne home and pop it at your house, man. I don't want to see this fucking nothing of a celebration like it's the Olympics, and I don't know. I don't even know. The Olympics even celebrate like that? I don't know.
It's not gonna happen because
don't celebrate it the way that you celebrate ALCS's championship series and World Series. Don't stop.
Well, all right. Well, it's not going to happen because there's no alcohol allowed. So they might pop
seltzer
bottles, Coca-Cola bottles, something like that.
Throw some Mentos in a Diet Coke
so this is what I don't understand. You know that they're going to have alcohol. If you're telling me, if I was a Major League Baseball player, I'm going to tell you this right now. If Manuel Gomez, I have no middle name. My parents didn't want to waste time with a middle name for me. Irrelevant. Not that important. Whereas my co-host here goes by his first and middle name,
also irrelevant.
I'm gonna sneak in alcohol. I'm gonna have it in a in one of those coffee mugs, I'm gonna have it.
Depending on what state I'm in, I'm seeking more than alcohol, man. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I don't. It's just so stupid, and it's like you're with these guys for an entire season. You're exposed to each other on the field. You're exposed to each other in the clubhouse. They're spitting. They're licking their hands. They're breaking COVID rules left and right. Nobody says anything, and you're gonna just ban. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Now, I would understand saying you can't pull a Max Scherzer and show up at a local bar and party with a bunch of random people. Yes, fine, I get that. But to celebrate with your teammates who you've been with for 60 games, that doesn't make sense to me.
If anything, MLB should jump ahead, stop people from bringing in alcohol from outside, and be like, we'll supply you all the alcohol you need. It just has to take place in this room.
That's it.
We control the cameras. You guys will have your privacy and whatever. And, you know, I got to just go back to what I said before. It's not that I have a problem with the celebration and the goggles and everything. I think I have a problem with it being a big deal. Like, I don't want to see it. I don't care for it. Do whatever you want behind your clubhouse doors, but let's stop
You're like
pretending.
an old man.
Let's stop pretending like you won something. You know, that's the point. The championship series, I get it. The World Series, obviously, I get it. The 3-game series to get to the ALDS, celebrate,
So boring.
but bro, save the goggles.
So boring.
Leave the goggles at home. I don't care. That shit burns in your eyes.
It's like in the NFL. Andy Reid with the face shield. For me, that's more of a show than it is real protection. You're with these guys. You're already with them. You know what I mean? So why are you wearing the face shield? Same thing with the NBA. They're in a bubble, and when a reporter interviews a player, they're holding a boom mic, and the player's standing like 10 feet away. It looks weird. Have you seen this?
Yeah, it's awkward.
You're in the bubble. You're with each other. The reporters are getting tested just like you are. You know what I mean? Like,
and we're not trying to play down the COVID
virus.
I'm not. And we're not trying to play that. We know how serious it was and it still is. But you're right. Like in the NBA bubble, it's just a freaking awkward sight. Like how they took it 10 steps ahead. They went 10 steps above and beyond to make sure that they're.
And by the way, it's worked. It's worked. They haven't canceled any games or anything. But I feel like you've taken the precautions.
Yeah.
But then on top of those precautions, you're doing these things that to me are more for show. It's not like real. You know what I mean? Like like how they have like the scoring people behind glass in inside of the bubble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those guys are in the bubble. They're not allowed to go home. They're in the bubble. I think it was the Bill Simmons podcast. I'm not sure who it was, but he interviewed a reporter, and the reporters go to the bubble. They quarantine for 2 weeks, I think it is, and they get tested just like the players do. They go through the same motions as the players do. So then why are you holding a boom microphone to interview a player? Like you're both in there. You both tested negative. That's why you're there.
Just
so
I
don't know.
Take the halftime show with Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and Shaq and the other guy.
Yeah,
I always
they're
forget
sitting
their name.
that far apart from each other.
No, they're in the same desk, and then they have a glass partition between them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the point of that? And then watching the NFL games yesterday, the show that they do on CBS, these guys were sitting like in stools like 6 feet apart. I'm like, all right. We get it. You guys are practicing social distance, but I'm pretty sure all you guys know you don't have the virus.
Yeah.
And this is unnecessary. Like
it's like the Joe Rogan podcast. He tests his guests because he does his interviews in person. But that once he gets the test is done, he's not putting up a big partition between him and the guest because you just tested yourselves. You're COVID negative. I just don't get it. I appreciate the sentiment because in this country it's become political to wear masks, which is stupid. So I appreciate the sentiment, but we're not dumb. Like I understand. Yeah. You're in a bubble. Why are you still fucking doing this shit?
The NBA one is more annoying than the other one, but you're absolutely right, man.
Yeah. In baseball, I could understand it a little more, like the umpires wearing a mask or whatever, because they're not in a bubble. I don't know how often they're being tested. They're shouting shit, so the droplets are going everywhere. You know what I mean?
There's already been several breakouts, and you're right. there's rules in place, but they're still spitting, they're still high-fiving, they're still celebrating
Right.
no hitters.
What I don't understand is why the manager has to wear a mask, because he's like his team. Why is DJ LeMahieu chewing tobacco? He has a big wad of tobacco in his mouth, standing next to, let's say, Gio Urshela without a mask, and they're in between Aaron Boone, who does have a mask. Do you think that when he's in the clubhouse, he has that mask on? He's probably chilling with his team. You know what I mean? Like,
it's funny how Clint Frazier's like the only player wearing
wears
a mask.
it
And he's
the
like
whole time.
He's one of the youngest guys, and everybody's just like not wearing a mask. Like, hey, fuck you, Clint. Like, we don't care.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's for me, it's for show.
It is, man. It's for show. It's for show.
And by the way, I sound like I'm an anti-masker. I'm not. I homeschool my daughter. I barely go out. If I do go out, I'm wearing a mask. I'm very worried about this whole situation. But if you're handling it properly, like the NBA is, and everybody knows the NBA is, why are you going through the motions? Like, just proceed accordingly. Make things as, if anything, I would feel better if I could see them acting kind of normal, because I would be like, oh, wow, look, a sense of normalcy. Like, that's what I want to be. That's what I want to achieve at some point. I miss the real world already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just brought us all down.
It's all right, man.
What else we got for today, man?
Albert Pujols ties Willie Mays.
Let's go.
For, what is it, 660th home run? What is that, 5th all time or something? I don't know.
Something like that.
I'm a baseball fan. Pretty sure it's on Bleacher Report somewhere.
Greatest
He
of all time.
either tied Willie Mays or passed Willie Mays. I'm gonna say he passed him.
660. I think that's tied for Willie Mays.
What a number.
Will Pujols reach 700 before it's over? 40 left.
He ties Willie Mays. Yes, he will. I believe he will.
Okay, 40 left. How many games do the Cardinals have left? He's not in the Cardinals. Wow, what just happened there? He probably has like 15 games left with the Angels this season, and then he has next season. You think he could hit 40 home runs in, let's say he plays 130 games? Will he hit 40?
I believe Pujols will get to 700. He is definitely not passing Hank Aaron or Barry Bonds.
No. If I were Pujols, I'm not gonna lie. At this point, you've had like a good 10-year stretch where you're not Albert Pujols anymore. You have 1 year left in your deal, about 130 at bats. Let's say conservatively. I'm just swinging for the fences every time I go up there, especially if the Dodgers aren't really competing. I mean, the Angels.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hit a home run every time I go up there now. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to – let's be honest. The Angels aren't winning the World Series this year or next.
Only reason I'm saying Pujols could do it is because Brett Gardner hit like 28 home runs last year, and the balls are juiced. So
he only has 4 home runs this year, though, Pujols.
Pujols?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is technically May.
Okay.
For Albert Pujols.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man. Brett Gardner almost hit 30 home runs last year. The balls are juiced. They're more juiced this year. They probably will continue down this path next year. Global warming is going to take a toll on the environment, and balls are going to be flying out even easier. So yeah, I think he can definitely get 30 next year in a full season.
I'm going to make us uncomfortable really quick. Something off topic, just because I feel like we don't really have anything else to talk about and we're about to sign off. So we might as well make some people uncomfortable here. But in Lancaster, where I live currently, there was a officer-involved shooting, like in some other places. And there were mass protests and, property being shattered. Same thing you hear across the country. So I didn't hear about it until this morning. I read about it and I saw the video, and I have to say that if I was the cop, I would have done the same thing. I'm just going to flat out say it. The guy was coming after him like this guy looked like a zombie. He was not in his right mind, was wielding a knife in a position where you're going to stab somebody, running after the cop. What do you expect the cop to do? And then somebody on Twitter commented on something I wrote saying, like, I kind of get why the cop did what he did. And somebody said to me, why the cop couldn't take a couple of slashes of the knife. And I'm just like, we've lost our fucking minds in this country officially. And I just want to say that I'm pro Black Lives Matter. I'm I'm not pro abolishing the police. I think that's stupid. If anything, we need to fund more policing so that there's better training and we can get this shit under control. But we have to stop in this country being so divisive for the sake of being divisive. You have to stop and look at a situation and make determinations based on that. If I don't own guns, I don't believe in guns. But if I did have a gun and somebody was coming after me with a gun, I mean, with a knife like that, I'd probably shoot to protect myself. Like, can we fucking stop this shit already? You know what I mean?
I just want to quickly mention that there's rumors that the guy was autistic, might have had some mental issues.
Either way, he's coming after you with a knife.
Yeah, either way, you don't know that. And I would say that I can see why a common person would shoot someone for less, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was running away. I didn't watch the video. I'm just reading.
The cop was running away, and then the kid was charging him with a knife at full speed. If you watch the video, it looked like The Walking Dead. Like the guy he looked like he was ready to kill. That's what that guy looked like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Again, like, I think I can understand someone being shot for less than a guy coming at you with a knife and me backing up. You know, I think it's understandable. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that the common person, not even speaking cops, just a common person with a weapon in their hand, how they're going to react when they feel like they're being attacked. So it's crazy, man. I had no idea that there was riots going on in Lancaster, though. Like, because I was in Lancaster a couple months ago, and where would you riot? There was like no people. It wasn't that much of a.
Well, you were so in my town is if you wanted to look at. I hope nobody in my town is listening to this. But if you want to look at systemic racism, I think I live in the perfect example of a system of systemic racism. There's not a cop to be found in my town. It's a pretty well-to-do town, pretty wealthy. Not a cop to be found. Schools are super well-funded. And then you go down to Lancaster City, which is about 10 minutes down the road from us, and it's the complete opposite story. There's more Hispanic people, more people of color. The community's a bit more run down because the economic situation isn't as good as it is where I live. There's more, the police presence is way higher there naturally because there's more crime. But anyway, besides the point, the situation that took place, it wasn't an officer reporting to a scene, apprehending someone who's resisting arrest and shooting the person. This was a police officer who reported to the scene. A kid runs out of his house with a knife after the cop aggressively, and the cop shoots in self-defense while running away. To me, it was almost justified. And if the kid is autistic and everything, I feel bad for that kid because he wasn't in his right state of mind. But what are you supposed to do in that situation? Stop and say, are you autistic before you shoot your gun? Are you autistic? Are you mentally unstable? What do you think that kid is? He's not going to answer you. That kid was trying to kill somebody that day. That's what it looked like to me. And I feel bad for that. I feel bad for that cop. I hope that he keeps his job, and I hope that people. This reminds me of. Have you ever seen that Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing?
I don't think I watched it beginning to end, but I've definitely caught clips of it.
It reminded me of Do the Right Thing because the whole racial issue in that movie started because one of the customers in the pizzeria didn't like that Sal's Pizzeria didn't have any black people on their wall. And they started off a riot, and the police officers killed a black male in the streets or whatever. So the people rioted and they destroyed this pizzeria who was owned by an Italian family, a white family. And it doesn't paint a good picture for either side. And it lets you decide, like, you know, like it throws the question at you, like, was this justified? Like, how would you have handled the situation? And it reminded me of that because it was black and white, but I feel like people aren't stopping to see the black and white. It's just reactionary now. It's just the anti-maskers are pissed off because you're asking them to wear a mask. They're not thinking, oh, wait, I'm doing this because I don't want to infect you, though you might be okay. You might give it to somebody who might not be okay. It's the same situation. the Black Lives Matter movement, the police officer stuff, the stuff that's happening with the police in this country, we're not stopping to see, wait a minute, maybe that cop was justified to shoot in that situation. It's just an automatic reaction. Officer killed somebody, it's wrong. Let's riot. Let's destroy communities and businesses. We got to stop this shit already. Like, this country needs to stop and just take a breath and stop reacting over everything. Just, take the situation is not the same as what happened to George Floyd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry to take it there, but I had to bring it up because I live here and I was surprised that something like that happened near here. I hope we can get out of this, man. Like, I'm kind of scared for our country right now.
I think that we will get out of it, but I also think that it starts with like the individual. Like, we got to be more responsible. We got to hold ourselves accountable. We got to stop letting Twitter and Facebook and Instagram tell us how to perceive the real world, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not the real world. And I think we also got to remember that all these apps, they work to feed you more of what you're into, what you're engaging with. So just stop to think, like, if you're someone who was heavy on the riots, but you were heavy on the peaceful side of it, like you were paying attention more, retweeting, liking certain videos that depicted the peaceful protesters being enticed by cops to be violent. So if you were someone who was more leaning towards looking at the cops being the ones that were engaging and starting the violence, then all you're going to see is more examples of that. You're never going to get to the other side of it. I'm not saying one side's right and the other side is wrong. I'm just saying, like, do your research. The more that you engage with one thing, I'm a Bills fan. The Bills won yesterday. I haven't seen one negative post about Josh Allen, his mistakes and stuff. All I'm seeing is people supporting him. So if you're someone who was watching the protests and caught a glimpse of some cops being dickheads, you're going to get more videos of that. You're going to get videos that happened 20 years ago. You're going to get something that happened yesterday. And by that point, you're letting yourself get divided, I think. I think we got to just call it what it is. One thing is right, one thing is wrong. There's obviously a gray area, but get rid of social media is what I'm saying, man. Let's stop this shit already.
I don't think it's ever going to happen, but maybe
Twitter will. I'm saying right now, Twitter will go down in the next 10 years. I'm calling.
I don't know. What I think could happen, and maybe should happen, and maybe this is too much government intervention or some shit, but maybe these social media platforms should continue to exist, but maybe the algorithms need to be controlled by a third party entity. Like, it shouldn't be that you're showing me something because you want me to. I understand that it's the whole idea is to keep me on the app as much as possible and liking shit. So you're going to show me things that I'm likely to react to because you've taken my likes and you've memorized them and all this shit. But I think that's kind of the problem, because I remember when all these algorithms came into play and your feed started being sorted based on things that they thought you were more interested as opposed to chronological order.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it at the time, but now my brain is used to it and I don't even think about that it's not chronological anymore. I'm just looking at what's in front of me. And I feel like we need to just go back to chronological order and stop with these apps that their intention is to make me feel a certain way. And I feel like the same thing applies to the news media. Like, if I turn on MSNBC, I don't want to hear your opinions on Trump. If I turn on Fox News, I don't want to hear your opinion on Trump. Tell me what's happening and let me decide. That's how it should be. And I feel like now everybody's just invested in like brainwashing you and making you feel a certain way so that you stay and you keep clicking my shit and you come back to me. And it's funny because we're in this business too. We have a website. So we have an incentive. We were celebrating being on Bleacher Report earlier today. We have an incentive to get people on our site because we could potentially make more money if you keep coming to our site. We don't make We barely make anything. So please continue coming back to our site.
Yeah.
But I think that's the reason why I have steered away from, in our site, trying to be sensational. Like, I could, if I wanted to, write a piece saying, "Is Mike Trout gay tomorrow?" and gain a shitload of clicks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
But
it's
it's
like
not the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Like,
you'd be selling your soul.
exactly. And I feel
And
like everybody's just selling their souls now, and they don't give a fuck.
yeah, no, and I wouldn't say that I want like the algorithms to be controlled or anything, because it was inevitable that social media was going to get to this point, and it works better for us, because I just think that this political side of it is just a byproduct of something good, because I don't mind getting feeds that are strictly baseball related on Twitter. You know, I don't mind getting, let's say I was a cook or something for a restaurant. I wouldn't mind getting strictly cook feeds. If I'm into cats, I wouldn't mind. So I think this whole political stuff is just, it's been infiltrated. And so like they've infiltrated social media. Everybody has an opinion. You're either going to lean one way or the other. It's very rare that somebody in the center has a big voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the misery behind it. It's like people like to hear something bad about Trump. People like to hear something bad about Biden. People like to see cops being bad cops. Not that they like it, but it reinforces what they stand for, right?
Right.
People like seeing a justified cop killing, because it reinforces that they back the blue or whatever, right?
Right.
It's all fucked up, but it's just like, I think that's all just a byproduct of something, the good side of social media, which is to keep you if you want to look at it as the good side, like if you think that it's good that I'm being kept on social media because I love cats so much, I'm just watching all these cat videos, cats being cats or whatever. If you think that's a good thing or whatever, I think it's kind of cool that there's a more user friendly way to get this stuff in front of you. I think that the other side of it is what we're dealing with now. Like everybody's just being divided. And I think this has also a lot to do with it being the election year or whatever. I think once that part of the next 4 years is decided, things will optically at least look like they're more back to normal.
My God, man. What is no? I don't even know what normal is anymore.
Normal is that we can all get together, and honestly, the COVID, man, we gotta treat COVID as the next common flu, I guess. We got to get to that point. Not saying that it is the common flu and that it should be taken lightly. I'm saying it needs to be perceived as that, and then I think things will start getting back to normal.
God damn, man.
Sports, man. Sports will get us out of this.
Sports will save us.
Yeah.
And even in sports, like I heard a caller on the Michael K show last week complain because why does he have to watch a team take a knee, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were making the point like, well, then don't watch that part of it. Just skip that part. You know what I'm saying? But protests in sports have been around all along. I read a story on The Nation yesterday about Tom Seaver being an anti-Vietnam activist. I had no idea about this.
Me neither.
And apparently the Mets fans would boo him and shit in the earlier part of his career, even though he was dominant. And he even promised that if they won the World Series, he would put out an ad on the New York Times, an anti-Vietnam War ad in the New York Times. And he ended up doing that. And I was like, I had no idea about this. So it's been around forever. You have the Giancarlo, I think Esposito is his name, the Giancarlo and Tommy Smith. Giancarlo and Tommy Smith raising a fist in the Olympics. Muhammad Ali refusing to go to Vietnam. It's been around forever. But if you don't like that component of it, you have the right to not watch it. That's one. Or you have the right to, if you don't want to see them taking a knee, then don't watch the national anthem on TV. You know what? They only started doing the national anthem on TV like 20 years ago. It's not like this is something that has always happened in sports. It's a new thing, and it's turned into this political statement now. And it's just like, then don't make it that. Ignore that part. You know what I'm saying? Go to another room and salute your flag in your own way then. But I don't know. I just think everything is everything is a hot button issue now, and everything is a reason. A Republican doesn't like a Democrat now just because he's a Democrat, and vice versa. A Democrat doesn't like a Republican just because he's a Republican. We're focusing too much on what separates us. when there's so many things that we all have in common. Let's focus on those things, man. Like, let's just be decent human beings again. I'm sick of this shit. Legalize weed. Let's all smoke weed. Let's all go somewhere, hot box, hug each other. You know what I mean? And be happy.
I don't know how we got here.
I'm sorry, I had to do it. It's because of the. I was shocked to see that that there was
Lancaster
riots in Lancaster. It was the last place I expected to see it happening. And when I saw the video, I was like, "What the fuck are we doing here?" Like, this cop was protecting himself. Like,
yeah, I guess the one thing, just to make this super random, the one thing we didn't touch on was Alec Mills throwing a no-hitter.
Yeah,
for the Cubs. I don't know.
Way to bring it back, man. Way to bring it back.
Nah, it was good, man. I like talking about stuff like this, especially because I respect your opinion. You don't give me the same type of
my God,
respect, but it's fine though, man, because I'm used to this shit.
I just want. I'm afraid that people are not looking at all sides of the coin anymore. There's just one side of the coin, and that's it.
It's because social media is doing it for us.
I know.
It's only gonna give you your opinion, so you are no longer growing as a person. You're no longer expanding your thought. Look, just to give you an example, I guess I could say that I was raised in a house that always voted Democrat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how conservative YouTube got in front of me. I don't know how it got to that point, but it was interesting to see like the other side of the world. And that's not even the other side of the world. That's like what, like 1/8 of politics or anything like that. And I get all the crazy shit that conservatives, all the stuff that people criticize them about, and there are some nutcases on that side, by the way.
On all sides.
But yeah, exactly. That's I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
You don't realize that you're just as gullible and manipulated as conservative people are.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it was weird, man. Like, and because of that, I'm not really trying to go down one path or the other anymore. I'm just taking it as it comes, because honestly, it's impossible to keep up with everything. But just so you know, like, conservative people share some values that I think every common person shares. They might be more extreme about certain things, but you really got to like start listening to people, because they could be fighting for something that your side is no longer fighting for, or at least not putting it at the forefront of their policy or something. I'm not trying to say that you should be a conservative or that you should be a liberal or whatever, but social media is going to only give you that point of view at this point, because
I saw a video recently of a protest. I can't remember where it was, but these protesters went up to these two women at a cafe. They were sitting outside, and they started yelling at one of the women because she wouldn't raise her fist. The other one did, but she wouldn't. And it wasn't that she was against the protest. I think she was caught off guard that like a horde of people came up to them. Yeah, they were like shouting at them and screaming at them. And I'm just like, that's not how you win people over. If you're trying to make a point and trying to win people over so they can see your side and hopefully create some sort of change in this country, because there definitely needs to be some sort of change in this country. The way to do it is not to go up to somebody and force them to believe what you believe in. Start making your points. Like, why should we start changing our policing in this country? You know what I mean? Why should we change our educational system? Why should we vote for Biden instead of Trump? Why should we vote for a Republican congressman instead of a Democratic congressman? Don't fucking come up to me and start. And that's what's happening is you go to MSNBC and you have Rachel Maddow shouting at you for supporting Lindsey Graham or whatever. You go to Fox News and you have Sean Hannity telling you you're stupid because you don't support Trump. You know what I'm saying? It's not. These are the reasons why. Look at, these are the points, A, B, and C. This is what's happening in this country. There's none of that anymore. It's just you're this, so I'm not with you. You're this, so I'm not with. There's no coming together. Like,
yeah, nobody knows how to be an individual anymore. People need to follow a crowd. Nobody knows how to be individual anymore, or rely on their individual values. Like, people forgot how to read fake people on TV because Rachel Maddow like, can people not tell that she's bullshitting people? Or what was the other guy that you said?
Or Sean Hannity or
Can
Tucker
people
Carlson.
can people not tell that these people are bullshitting other
Oh my
people?
God.
Like, people forgot how to do that. And it's funny how even that situation that you mentioned with the whole fist raising thing, people could take that and spin it in the light of like, see how racist the common person is, that they wouldn't even raise their fist,
Right.
not knowing that there's still assholes on this planet like myself who will not give someone the benefit of like thinking that they forced me to raise a fist. Like, I personally, I could stand for whatever cause they're standing for and agree with everything they're saying, but just the sheer fact that they're forcing me to put a fist up,
Me too.
I won't give them that satisfaction.
Me too.
just because like nobody makes me do anything like that, something like that.
Me too. I'm the
So
same
it's like,
exact way.
there's an infinite number of reasons why somebody could not raise their fist, and one of them doesn't have to be that they're racist or that they don't support or something.
And by
like
the way,
that.
she supported the movement. It was the same thing. It was why the fuck are you coming at me like this? Like, chill.
Yeah.
And I would do the same exact thing that she did. I would be like, no, I'm not
Yeah.
raising my fucking fist. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
It's
man.
COVID. You're shouting in my face. Get the fuck away from me. Like,
Yeah.
Aren't you the guys who are? I don't know. It's just. All right, let's stop this. Let's stop this here. Sports will save us.
I think so. Sports and music.
This is probably the longest podcast we've ever recorded. Maybe
sports, music, and alcohol, baby.
Word, let's do it. And weed. Bleacher Report.
We made it.
Check us out on Bleacher Report.
We made it.
All right. Follow Luis at Hova Mojo on Twitter. Follow me at Manigo3 on Twitter. Follow the show at WT the show on Twitter, and go to our website WTTSpod.com. That's it. Peace.